Duelists, it is I, Hellgear, and it's Cyber Dragon deck profile time for August 2021. The North American Remote Duel YCS saw this archetype getting a top, and I figured this was a good time to brush up on the deck. And thanks to some previous sets, I've been able to get those choice cards. And I like the way this deck plays, because it still needs to have one good turn to put your opponent in the dirt. Like, sub, and bell for more. Let's count the cards. So of course you can't call yourself a Cyber Dragon deck if you don't have 3 copies of the strident blasting Cyber Dragon himself. And I can't wait to get an ultimate rare version of this very card. There isn't much I can tell you about this card that you don't already know. The rest of the monsters in the archetype count as Cyber Dragon while on the field and or in the graveyard. For example, we have 2 core and 2 hertz. I still play both of these at 2. You really don't need 3, but the argument for playing 3 is there. Each of them have one effect out of 2 that you can activate during the turn. Core acts like a cyber spell or trap rotor when summoned, and if you control no monsters and your opponent does, you can banish it to get another Cyber Dragon. Hertz, when it's summoned, turns into a level 5 monster. We don't really use that effect. Mostly we use the effect when it's sent to the graveyard to get another Cyber Dragon. Still, very nice to have these little guys, and as many of us know, they are our OTK catalysts. Just like this guy, Cyber Dragon Naxter. I didn't have this one last time. You can discard a monster. You can discard one other monster in your hand to special summon this card. Alright, from your hand. If normal or special summon, target a machine monster with 2100 attack and defense, and special summon it. But it locks you into special summoning machines for the turn. Very useful to have, and thank you Legendary Duelist Season 2 for making it a lot more affordable. Real talk, I play Proto Cyber Dragon simply for use of getting an extra blast out of the trap card overflow, because it is a level 3 monster. And since Cyber Dragons are mainly level 5s and then the 1s and the 2s, you can get at least 3 blasts off the trap card. And if nothing else, you can always use it with Cyber Dragon Dry. Dry can manipulate the levels of Cyber Dragons you control to 5 when it gets on the field. Also, if it's in the graveyard and you banish it, you can protect a Cyber Dragon you control from your opponent's card effects for the turn. Very useful. And then of course we have our copy of Cyber Dragon Fear. Yes, I know it is spelled with a V, but German vernacular, thanks to my German family and friends, have told me it is pronounced fear, as the word means the number 4 in German. Fear is our extender. We don't care about the extra 500 attack and defense for your machines. Means it special summons itself from your hand in defense mode when you control another Cyber Dragon. Real talk, one of the reasons why I had Dry and Fear in this deck was through testing. These level 4s actually make a good Utopia double standpoint. So if you're playing Cyber Dragon on a budget and you don't want to go for that $90 Dragoon, you can play these 2, overlay them into Utopia double, which is I believe $20 at the time of recording this. Bust out the Dawn and OTK that way. Options, duelists, it's good to have them. The honorary Cyber Dragon in Galaxy Soldier. You pitch one to special summon the other one in defense mode. We all know how good that is for being a level 5 light machine. One Cyber Elton in. This is my board clearer. If you don't want to use this card, you're welcome to play Jizukiru, the Star Destroying Kaiju. I have Jizukiru in my side deck. You summon a Cyber Dragon, and then you essentially special summon it from your field to your field by banishing the Cyber Dragon on your field and all machines in your graveyard. For each monster banished by this form, it gains 500 attack, and it sends all the other cards on the field to the graveyard. So, you know how those break my board duelists are. Not a lot of duelists play Cyber Valley. I like to use this as a defensive option. It has 3 effects, and you can choose to use one of them on a turn. If it's targeted for an attack, you can banish it, draw 1 card in the battle phase. Or you can banish it and one other card you control to draw 2 cards. The third effect never comes up. You're not recurring from the graveyard. But one thing that you can do for the extra draw power is you can banish dry. And when you banish dry, you get the protection effect from your opponent's cards for the turn. Still playing 2 copies of Cyber Pharaohs. This is the Ancient Gear Hunting Hound for the deck. 2100 in the back is still nothing to sneeze at, and until we get the Cyber style deck, it is primarily our main way of searching out Power Bond as a secondary engine. Two copies of Shad's favorite 1-card engine. It is also a fusion material for Invoked Mechaba for our extra deck. So, if nothing else, you can always use it as a pitch to boost up fusion monsters you control by 1 rack. The hand trap of choice for my deck is Droll and Lockbird. We all know how good this hand trap is, and there's actually a going first play that works very well with this hand trap. Spell game, you guys, we have our Rotas. 2 Cyber Emergency, 2 Cyber Repair Plant. Emergency Rotas of Cyber Dragon, mainly, or a light machine, and if it's negated, it gets recurred. Repair Plant, however, can Rota depending on how many Cyber Dragons you have in your graveyard. If you have 1, you can essentially Rota a light machine from your deck to your hand. If you have 3 or more, you can use both of these effects. The other lets you target a light machine in your graveyard and shuffle it into the deck. 2 variations of Rota for this deck, and I love them both. 1 Cyber Rev system. This is the monster reborn for the archetype, simply put. This is put your opponent down when you summon if it goes unresolved. Enough said. Alrighty, next up is the Fusion Engine. Ooh, let me move that over. So we have Power Bond, we have Instant Fusion, 2 Cyberload Fusions, and 2 Overload Fusions. Let's zoom out a little bit and get everybody in the frame. There we go. Most of these fusion spells, you already know how they work. Again, I've already explained Power Bond. You don't mind taking the burn because most of the time you use Power Bond, you're finishing games. I do have an Instant Fusion target in the extra deck. More on that later. We know what we're overload fusing. Cyberload Fusion, it works differently. It fuses monsters from your hand or face of banishment to fusion summon a monster in your extra deck that lists Cyber Dragon on it. Just remember that when you use Cyberload Fusion, it is the only monster that can attack. So what you'll want to do for this path of OTK is hit with all of your other Cyber Dragons, then Cyberload Fuse into one of your Cyber Dragons in the extra deck, and then swing to finish them off. Now, did you guys know that Cyber Dragon actually has a spell card that is non-targeted removal? They actually do, and it's from Hidden Arsenal. It's called Evolution Burst. Because this is a Hidden Arsenal exclusive spell, well, it should be reprinted in Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1. If you control a Cyber Dragon monster, it is the only time you can activate this. And it allows you to blast the card your opponent controls. But the kicker is, and I quote, Cyber Dragon cannot attack the turn you activate this card. And since it literally says Cyber Dragon cannot attack the turn you activate this card, that restriction really isn't too bad. If you go into Chimera Tech or one of the other extra deck monsters that are not quote-unquote Cyber Dragon, you'll be able to swing just fine. Again, if you don't have this card, it's going to be reprinted in Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1, since it's from the first Hidden Arsenal anyway. Trap game, you guys, we have Overflow. I mentioned this one before. You banish your Cyber Dragons to blast cards. As I said before, the Cyber Dragons are all level 5 monsters. So you have 5 with the original, Hertz is 1, Naxter is 1, Core is 2, Proto Cyber Dragon is 3, Dry and Fear are 4. So you can get a maximum of 5 blasts off of this trap. Spell Shield type 8 to deal with any of those pesky spells. And of course a negate attack because it's good defenses. Not bad for a 41 card deck. I still enjoy every last bit of it. Extra deck time. Panzer Dragon. This is my insta-fuse target. And when it's sent to the graveyard, it blasts a card. You can also use it as a stepping stone. Because Alistair the Invoker is in here, our Omni Negate Invoke Mechaba. Nothing else really I need to say about this one. A lot of decks use this, including Shads for some reason. Cyber Twin Dragon is still a good thing. This can actually attack if you have use Evolution Burst. And it's 2 swings at your opponent. So on its own, this thing can OTK, and if you power bond it, it goes to 5,600 that can swing twice. Cyber and Dragon can also be power bonded into 8 racks at a swing that deals piercing. One Cyber Eternity Dragon. Now, this is an odd fusion out. You need 2 machines and a Cyber Dragon to go into it. If there are fusion monsters in your graveyard, this card cannot be destroyed or targeted by your opponent's card effects. If it would be sent to the graveyard by one of your opponent's cards, you can special summon Cyber Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. You can even banish this card from your graveyard, and for the turn, fusion monsters you control cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. This is a very useful turn 1 play if you go into it, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, we know we're setting this up to slap people. It hits back row, it's an OTK nastiness. Fortress Dragon is also another one of those sweet stack on monsters. Chimera Tech Mega Fleet, ironically enough, is an out to the arrival at Ignister. All you need to do is summon a Cyber Dragon, and then you just even better than a Kaiju. Plus it'll get 2400 attack because it gets 1200 for each material used for its fusion summoning. New in the extra deck lineup is Artifact Duran. It has 2 effects. You can use one of them in a turn at quick effect speed. When a monster effect is activated on the field or normal spell or trap card is activated, detach a material and the effect becomes each player draws a card. Or you can detach a material from this card when each player with a hand shuffles their entire hand into the deck and then draws the same number of cards. This is what I was talking about as a turn 1 play. You can actually do a turn 1 play where you set up your Cyber Dragons with either core or hurts, and you use machine dupe because you're pulling the other 2 of these guys out. You can overlay them into Durandal, and if you have Droll and Lockbird in your hand, you can set Cybernetic Overflow in the back row, and then on your opponent's turn you can detach on activation of their card where they'll draw, then you hit with the Droll and you've literally shut them out of drawing cards for the turn. I run 2 Cyber Dragon Nova and 1 Infinity. We all know how good these guys are. My links, I run 1 Seeger, 1 Linkuriboh, and last but not least, 1 Lina the Light Charmer Lustrous. Lina is a new addition, thank you Lightning Overdrive, and is a way to out those pesky cockroach monsters that your opponent likes to side in. You know, what is it, Retaliating and Contact C? See? Charmers can out those. Because all you have to do is, once it's there, you just link them away in the Lina. So, let's talk about some ways I can roll this deck. First and foremost is like the Fusion Stepping Stone. We're going to need Ferris for this one. And where's Instant Fusion? Here we are. So, one way you can go Stepping Stone into this is you play Instant Fusion, pay 1,000 life points, Instant Fuse into our good friend Panzer. You summon Pharaohs. Pharaohs acts as Fusion because it is the Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. And then you send a Cyber Dragon from your hand to the field, or hand to the graveyard, because you have your Cyber Dragon. Where are my Cyber Dragons? Oh, I'm all over the place. So essentially these guys and your Cyber Dragon. So you go into this, you fuse with Cyber Pharaohs, and you go into Eternity face down in defense position. Because Panzer Dragon is in your graveyard as a fusion monster, this cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Everybody knows the core, Hertz, and Naxter play where we use machine dupe and we pull out 2 of these bad boys and get things going. If you need to, you can always sit on Seeger. You can always sit on Seeger and back row and pass, because push comes to shove, it's a 4200 body that they're going to have to swing over. Or you can go into the Artifact Durandal play with these guys, overlaying these two and having the Droll and Lockbird combo set down. Anyways, that is the Cyber Dragon deck profile. Hope you guys have enjoyed yourselves and this one. Leave your critiques of this build in the comments section below. I plan on updating this after Cyber Style drops in October. But for now, I take my goose from the oven because I'm done. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.